Welcome. New week, new chances, probably green week ahead of us. And today, the first video is about what's literally happening in the past week because short term holders are selling and long term holders are accumulating. And there is a big lesson in there. So, we're going to discuss that tonight, the live stream. Do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're getting towards 100k subscribers. Would be great if we hit it today. And tonight the live stream will be fun again, in which we are answering all your questions and requests. So what's happening with Bitcoin right now? Well, we do see that we've had a very harsh correction, but if we get to the chart or like to the screen, we can see that short-term holders are the ones that have been selling. And this is an article from last week, but it shows why it's so important to understand the mechanics of the market. So this entire chart from Glassnode says the total supply held by short-term holders. So you can see in the black that it's the price of Bitcoin running upwards. We can see that the amount of supply held by short-term holders increased heavily in the 2017 run-up. That's the newcomers, the speculators. They all come at the end and start buying heavily. And then when the market started to crash, they were panic selling massively. The exact same thing we can see in the markets nowadays. Since the run-up, so since the 20k and even later, we see that new people have been buying into the markets massively. And you can see that the ones that have been selling are those people that are currently currently losing money. So the ones that have been buying relatively late are the ones that are selling right now, so the short-term holders. And I'm guessing that in the new article, you can see a very fast decrease of short-term holders here, and long-term holders have been accumulating. Because if you swap to that, you can see the exact opposite of what's been happening with long-term holders. So during the 2017 run-up, we saw that newcomers were buying heavily, and you can see that long-term holders are actually selling off massively during that run-up, as they are taking profits and switching hands with the short-term holders. So the accumulators are selling to the ones that are trying to become millionaires overnight. And then when did they start to accumulate? Yes, they've started to accumulate in the bear market. So when the price started to drop, you can see that long-term holders are accumulating way more. And then the exact same thing is happening right now with the fact that we have had such a massive run. Long-term holders have been selling in the run-up while they are actually starting to accumulate. And I guess we are going to see upgrades or increases here in the new article in week 21, in which the accumulation has been heavily increasing on long-term holders at this stage. So there's something important in there. And I guess when Bitcoin was at 60k, everybody from my old friends and people around me were eager to get into Bitcoin and were eager to get into all those meme coins and crypto in general. However, when the correction right now is happening, or when the price started to crash last week, I got 0 calls. The only calls I could get was from people that were feared and panicked, and they wanted to get out of the markets. There's a mental game in there. It's an open market, so the big whales have a certain desire to push you out of the markets because they can start accumulating. So if you start to understand that concept, you start to realize that you should not be getting your emotions into play. And this is literally the way to becoming a whale or a big player, is to start understanding the emotions that are involved into the markets in general. So when we get towards the fear and greed index, we can see that it's at extreme fear. It's at level 12, and if we look at the entire picture, the fear right now is the same as what we saw during the massive crash in Corona March 2020. The sentiment is the same as back in that period. And if you go back into the charts, you can actually see that that was the best opportunity to get into the markets. Yes, the market has lost the 21-week MA, but maybe we are into an environment where the 21-week MA is not the one that we should be looking at, because perhaps we're going to have a very long bull cycle, the super cycle, in which that's the case, and that then we're going to have different indicators that are being used by everyone. But in the basis, price action is still the end game. So what do we see in the market? There are different scenarios. I've seen people saying that we are in this cycle. I disagree. This is not a blow off top. I think we're still in a corrective move inside the entire bull cycle. We could be having something like this, in which we drop beneath the 21-week MA and get back above at the later stage. Might be. There's also just the case that we are currently seeing a longer cycle, as I just discussed. But all in all, what do we see from the weekly time frame and the charts that we do see in this perspective is that it's very similar to the price action that we built in 2016. So in 2016, we did see that the critical level to hold is this entire block that it constructed before it continued the momentum, as that is the previous price compression and support that it should be holding. So in this case, we can see that this entire block is also the area that Bitcoin should be holding in general. If that is lost, we're going to look at anything around the previous all-time high. So as long as we keep the support there, we are still good to go. And that means that if the sentiment is at levels of March 2020 at here, and if the long-term holders are accumulating and short-term holders are selling right now, there's a big lesson in there. And next to that, we can also see what happened after March 2020. It slowly started to grind up. So if you're assuming that we're going to retest those lows, it's a very skeptical bet to take. Yes, the altcoins are dropping down way more, and I've discussed this yesterday in the update, in which people are mostly, or retail is mostly in altcoins, and they start to sell off their altcoins out of panic. But those altcoins can bounce up significantly as well, and Bitcoin can bounce up significantly as well and just grind further. So this is a massive opportunity. There is a massive chance. Fundamentally nothing has changed, and I'll be back tonight with a fresh new update. So stay tuned. Don't forget to enjoy life and to have a bigger picture and to get all those information towards you in which you can start learning yourself. So subscribe, and I'll see you again tonight on the live stream.